what does love your neighbor as yourself really mean? The New Testament makes it a central command. In everything, do to others as you would have them do to you. Matthew chapter 7, verse 12. As does rabbinic literature say, what is hateful to you, do not do unto others. Yet, who must be loved? And how should that love be expressed? Before dealing with the meaning of love your neighbor as yourself, let's take a look at the context of this command. Leviticus chapter 17 to 26 is known as the Holiness Code, since several times it urges the entire Israelite community to be holy. As in Leviticus 19:2, speak to all the congregation of the people of Israel, and say to them, you shall be holy, for I, the Lord your God, am holy. It extends the notion of the priest's holiness found in the preceding material to the entire Israelite population. Leviticus 19 serves as an intervening chapter between Leviticus 18 and 20, both of which displayed very similar lists of prohibited sexual relationships. Interestingly, preceding the command, love your neighbor as yourself, the beginning of Leviticus chapter 19 is a restatement of the Ten Commandments, since it begins with the commandments to honor parents and to observe the Sabbath, Leviticus 19:3, followed by prohibitions against idolatry, Leviticus 19:4, stealing, Leviticus 19:11, and swearing falsely, Leviticus 19:12. The command, love your neighbor as yourself, in Leviticus 19:18 is full of surprises. Let's take a closer look at the text. What does the phrase, love your neighbor, mean? The injunction, you shall love your neighbor as yourself, is part of a mini collection of commandments in Leviticus chapter 19, verses 15 to 18. You shall not render an unjust judgment. You shall not be partial to the poor or deferred to the great. With justice, you shall judge your neighbor. You shall not go around as a slanderer among your people. And you shall not profit by the blood of your neighbor. I am the Lord. You shall not hate in your heart any one of your kin. You shall reprove your neighbor, or you will incur guilt yourself. You shall not take vengeance or bear a grudge against any of your people, but you shall love your neighbor as yourself. I am the Lord. Each verse contains at least one word referring to the fellow Israelites. That is, neighbor, people, kin, ending with as yourself. The usual understanding of Leviticus 19:18, that as yourself modifies love and demands that you must love your neighbor the same way that you love yourself, is likely incorrect. The surrounding verses imply that as yourself modifies your neighbor, and the verse means that you must love your neighbor who is like you, namely, your fellow Israelites, your kinsmen or countrymen. But that is not the whole story. Leviticus 19:34 reads, the alien who resides with you shall be to you as the citizen among you. You shall love the alien as yourself, for you were aliens in the land of Egypt. I am the Lord your God. This closely parallels Leviticus 19:18, as is part of a small subunit that focuses on aliens, namely non-Israelites who are living in the midst of the Israelite community. they too must be loved. To sum up, most readers incorrectly understand its famous words, "You shall love your neighbor as yourself," to be very broad. In its original context, Leviticus 19:18 meant that you should treat your fellow Israelites properly. But it is part of a larger legal collection that also commands love of the stranger and alien. Leviticus 19:34 concerns loving the foreigner and describes broad love as the proper treatment of all.